friends. And with it being 12 minutes to 8 o'clock, we say a very good morning to Nico Kleynhans.
Good morning. I encourage young South Africans to spend time outside of our country. Don't get a job, your first job, outside. I don't care whether it's in another African country, whether it's in Europe, Asia, North or South America, but go and spend some time outside and get to see how others live. It's going to change your value system. It's going to change your expectations. Because once you've settled down, you've got a spouse and you've got children, to do so at that point in time, it's going to cost you millions of rand, because the restrictions that are going to be imposed on you to get you that permit are going to be enormous. But for a work permit for a youngster, it's a lot easier to get. And you're going to be surprised. And let me give you the one example of what surprised me when I spent some time. I was on a train traveling from Paris all the way to Amsterdam. And when we got to Brussels South, we arrived at the station 2 minutes late. Just 2 minutes late. And then we spent 4 minutes at the station. And a passenger boarded the train at that point. And he was shouting at the top of his voice. And he was shouting in Dutch, so I could understand what he was saying. And when the conductor came to him, he was shouting and saying, "You arrived 2 minutes late. You spent 4 minutes at the station. What kind of government is running the rail service?" And the conductor apologized. And I remember thinking, I should take this particular citizen to South Africa, where 2 minutes and 4 minutes could end up being 2 days and 4 days. But for me, it was a surprise to see how local people held their government accountable. But if you want to go and spend time in Europe with your family, you need many millions of rand. But did you know when you get to 50, then the rules change substantially? And I want to talk about Mauritius particularly. Once you're at 50, you can get permission to go and spend time in Mauritius. And you get a special permit designed for retirees. To qualify, you need to make a deposit of $1,500 into a bank in Mauritius. That's the equivalent of around 24,000 rand. And then for the next 12 months, you need to be able to deposit that amount every single month. So it comes to about 283,000 rand a year. And if you can prove that you have made that deposit, you have permission to stay. And you can remain in Mauritius. At the end of that particular year, you have another 2 years in which you can then apply for permission to remain in Mauritius for another 20 years. That is for you, your spouse, your parents, and any dependents who are not yet 24, but who are financially dependent on you. You may remain in that particular country. All you've got to do is to have the 23-odd thousand coming in per month. So you don't have to sell your South African property. You don't have to cash in. You can just make sure that the money comes in. Now, that may seem like a heavy burden, but it's actually a lot easier than you think. Now, once you've got settled and you're in, you are allowed to bring more money into Mauritius as lump sum, and you can buy a business in Mauritius. But because you're there as a retiree, you can't be employed by that business that you've bought. You can own it, but you can't be employed by it. You can't manage it, but you obviously can get dividends from it. You may earn money in Mauritius, provided it's earned online. So if you've got an online business, you can continue running that online business. So it is not impossible to get the equivalent money coming in on a regular basis. The lifestyle in Mauritius is really good, and it will give you an option. And it is going to cost you 1/10 of settling there than what you would need if you were to go there the other way. If Mauritius doesn't strike you, Portugal has a similar scheme. And then you have the option of also being able to travel within Europe. And if that doesn't strike you, you also can go to Panama. So you don't assume that because you normally would need 5 or 6 or 10 million rand to settle outside South Africa, that the rules will continue applying to you when you hit the age of 50. So just check it out and see what lifestyle can offer you when you get to your 50th birthday. Have some fun.
Thank you so much, Nico.